do what I can. Good evening, folks. Thanks for coming in. Hope you all had a great weekend and the weather's still being kind to you. So tonight we have a brand new guest. We eat fresh meat, as they say. This young lady was meant to be on a couple of weeks ago, but there was issues at the airport that without her but beyond her control. But so tonight I'm going to welcome Shannon Michelle Collins, or as she's known on TikTok, etc., the Queen of Darkness.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure, though. It's our pleasure. It's good to be finally on. So after you've been arrested by customs and stuff, you know.
It was such a trial. It was terrible, terrible.
No, well, she was not arrested at customs or anything like that. It was all perfectly legal. But no, it's good to be finally on. So you call you're a poet, you're an actress, and you're a horror hostess on
Yes.
Paraflix.
Yes.
So
It is a lot of fun.
quite a busy lady. How did you get into all that kind of stuff?
All of this happened accidentally. And it's crazy when you think about like where it stems from, and it all stems from a paranormal experience. Um, so if you'd like to hear about that, it's a little bit of a
Yep,
story. I could share it with you.
yep.
Okay. So if you go back to 2019, it was around Halloween. It was October 26th, and I was a part of a paranormal team at the time called Long Island Paranormal Investigators. And we would have public investigations at historic locations to help raise funds to put back into the historic location to be able to keep it
Mm-hmm.
running. Museums, etc., things like that. One of the places that we had was um a house that is old for me, but not very old for all you guys over there. But it was built in the early mid 1600s, and it was a smaller house. But so we had a smaller group of people. Long story short, the group that was supposed to come there for the investigation decided to go to the other location instead. So our team that was there had that for the night. What are we gonna
Mm-hmm.
do? We're gonna investigate. And
Yep.
so we had been investigating this place for about a year at this point, and when I initially had gone there, I had always felt like a connection to it even before I went there. When I had got there, I felt a connection to a woman, and I was sitting in the garden, and I was listening to a Native American meditation, and the whole energy shifted, and I felt like, uh-oh. And I got a vibe of what had happened to her, and I asked who was the woman that was murdered in the garden when I went inside. They all looked shocked, like, what? um, the the person who settled on that land, um, his wife was supposedly murdered in her garden by a local, they say a local tribe. They say a tribe that was like a state away had come and did it, and I don't believe any of that, but whatever. So that's who I thought I was connecting with. Fast forward to this date, October, when nobody's there. We have the opportunity to try and learn more of the place. We start doing healthy provoking. You hear provoking is bad, and that's like if you're being mean, that's like you're being a bully, right? But healthy
Mm-hmm.
provoking would be almost taking on maybe like the lifestyle that they had, talking how they would talk, bringing up about foods that they might have eaten, things like that, almost as if you were living alongside of them in that time period. And it was a really quiet night, and all of a sudden, I started channeling something that I I had no control over, and it wound up sticking with me. That situation changed my entire life. I I was not recognizing myself anymore. I didn't recognize my family. My family didn't recognize me. I was married at the time. My husband was in the paranormal group. When he showed up at that location because they had called him and said, "We're scared. She's scaring us." Um, he came and he's like, "That's not my wife. Get get that away from me," and not in a mean way, but I really wasn't myself at the time. And I don't think I ever really came back to myself. It impacted me very much. I've been working on a book about that. to explain that full details of that story, because a lot goes into that and we don't. Anyway, what I had said, which had caused this, because you have to be careful what you say, what you think, even sometimes words or spells. And I had said, you know what I can do, you know, um, tell me, show me, tell me and show me what happened to you. And I like essentially invited it in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is it? I don't know. So since then, I had, at that point, I was just under 200 pounds. I was very, very shy. I couldn't talk in front of people. I was always dramatic. I always wrote poetry. I started getting automatic writings, and it would be poems. And I thought it was her. I realized it was her telling me her story. So I wound up putting that into a poetry book. And then that started to get a little bit of attention. And from there, people started inviting me out to be a guest on their show, to share their stories, et cetera, go to different events. When I would go to different events, I would meet different people and different opportunities would arise from that. At that point, too, I had somebody who was mentoring me in the beginning and who helped me release my book. And they connected me to a few people where I could do like modeling and things like that, because they thought that I had a good aesthetic for that as well. And so that's how that end of it opened up. And then it just kept going and kept going. So a very scary and traumatic thing wound up being the worst and best thing that happened to me. So it's a very weird vibe. That's how I got into all of that.
As is just Craig and Laura, their husband and wife, they're two of their team members. It's a kind of weird story, you know, but you see what we were saying just prior to coming on, that things happen for, you know, things, a lot of things happen for a reason. Do you think maybe that happened for a reason, that somebody was wanting you to go down this path?
I
That
I have
makes sense.
sorry.
No, does that make sense, that somebody was wanting you to start out on this path?
I could. I mean, anything is like possible, I guess, as far as that goes. I've heard of a lot of different theories that maybe it was like s- past life returning to itself in in a sense. Um, maybe there needed to be a change for sure. Um, I was, but then I went to like an extreme, and now I feel like I'm kind of at a good balance, because I thought I was crazy. I thought I lost my mind, and I kept saying, "Are you sure I'm not crazy?" And they're like, "We were all there. We have the audio evidence that will back that up." So while this was happening, there was EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, that we were capturing that was not
Mm-hmm.
on every digital recorder. Um, so if we had like 3 recorders in the room, it would be on one recorder and not on the others, and vice versa. And there was just a lot to back that up, and it's still so hard for me to like wrap my head around the why and the how, because even though I was doing paranormal investigating for a very, very long time before that, it that was never, you know. Now when people tell me
So
their like stories and if they seem so unbelievable, I'm like, tell me more, like I'll listen.
That's, you're exactly right, though. I mean, it's when you say the how, but, I mean, I'm no psychic. I'm as psychic as a cabbage, basically, but there is some locations that we've been to, and I felt like, there's maybe somebody standing behind me or beside me or standing watching, and I can kind of see them up here, and describe them. And sometimes you do ask yourself, well, how can I? How do I know that they're there or whatever? There's Laura. Our Laura has got a phobia about cabbages.
Hmm.
So every time, that's what she's saying, language boss. So every time I mention the word cabbage, she gives me into trouble, basically. You know,
Oh.
a bit strange, you know, but sometimes I do just to wind her up, but you know, I'll just drop the word cabbage in. But what you're saying there about, you know, you connected with this lady and, you know, kind of she kind of took you over. I've seen that happen many a time, and I know there's a lot of skeptic people out there, which is fair enough. And I'll put my hands up and say I was quite skeptical about it sometimes because you know yourself, Shannon, on TV, there's that many people claim to be mediums and, you know, or Jeffries took me over and stuff like that, you know, and you think, well, but see, we had friends up from Southampton, and we've known them for quite a few years, and they're genuine. They're called the Ghoul Gang, and we were out at our favourite location on Friday night, and we Rosie, she's a medium, and she, as far as we can see, she took over by a gentleman called Thomas, and this was weird for me, even though we're done, excuse me, tons of investigations. This was the first time I saw this happening, so I didn't really know what to make of it, you know, but we know, as I say, we know Rosie, we know she's totally genuine. She wouldn't put it on or anything. So, you know, we witnessed that as well. And so I can totally get what you're saying about, you know, totally change it. I'll remember that next time you'd need my help. You know we love you, Laura. You know we love you. But it's funny because there's a lot of people that get into paranormal for, you know, 101 different reasons. You know, it can be anything for their mum or dad did it to, I watched a film one time and I thought I'll give it a try. And I always like hearing how people get into it. Your story is quite interesting, and it's the first time I've heard something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I had a hard time with it because I never heard of that either. I really didn't. Especially like with the poetry and the whole this and that. And then when you know, naturally I'm gonna do research. So when I did the research on it afterwards and I found out like that the the male of the home um studied poetry in Italy, you know. So he moved from England, went to Italy, did poetry, moved to um, Massachusetts and then Connecticut, and then he moved to Southampton, New York.
I do go see Southampton in England.
No, Southampton, New York. And that's where that happened. So the poetry, his family inscription is from the Ars Poetica, the Book of Horace. And that, like, that's so weird to me. And the family inscription is think twice before you speak. So I mean, like, yeah.
And do
I
you?
always felt that was relevant. It does, I get nervous. Yeah, he should, I think. I don't know. He scares me sometimes.
Let's say I'm flabbergasted. I'm not a medium, but something weird happened to me. Let's go explain. The camera not focusing like I had missed with me with glasses. That was at Loudon. It's called Loudon Cut, the place that we go to. And my wife was recording the investigation for Global Ghost Hunt. And the camera kept going out of focus. I think there was 5 days there, 5 or 6 days. But everybody, Laura was on one side and she was all out of focus, but the rest of us were on perfect focus. And I don't know much about tech and filming and stuff like that, but everybody else was crystal clear. But Laura was quite blurry. And Rosie had said that there was 2 women standing in the area that Laura was standing. So, you know, was that them interfering with the camera, or, you know, that's what I love about the paranormal side. You just don't know.
You don't know. It's exciting and it's scary. That sounds like a very interesting photo.
We have got a photo. We took, I think my wife's got it. I'll see if my wife's got it, but we took, Rosie said one of the ladies had glasses on. And so Sarah, my wife, she was taking photos, and there was a photo of Laura, and it was either my wife or Rosie. I'll find the photograph for you, but it looks like now Laura doesn't wear glasses, or does she?
Mhm.
No, she doesn't. I can't remember. That's bad, isn't it? I've known her for like 6, 7 years. No, she doesn't wear glasses. That's terrible. Sorry, Laura. But in the photo, it looked like she's got glasses on.
Wow, that's incredible.
No, she doesn't wear glasses. I can't believe that. I'm going to get in trouble for that one, I'll tell you that. No, I'm going to get in bother for that one. So, I notice you've got a little friend with you.
Stuart.
Who's this?
As a Stuart. I just got him.
I saw your video the other day. So, what's the story behind Stuart?
I
Or
don't
is there
know.
one?
I think he was handmade. He's got little initials under here. So I think he was
Right.
handmade in 76. Um I have no idea, but somebody was selling him at a table and he looked so sad. I felt like I had to take him home.
Did
But
they
now
did
he's
they did they call to you like?
yeah. Take me home.
So
I just feel like he's just cute and I wanted to take him home.
No, he's quite a handsome young chap. He's
Yeah.
quite a handsome young man. So how did you come up with the name of the Queen of Darkness?
Queen of Darkness. Oh, because you give me all of your dark things and I will show you how brightly you shine. Because I have literally just demolished every dark thing that has tried to take me out. And it's been a lot, and I don't know if you have like an attachment of some sort. Sometimes life is testing. In general, life is testing, but this has been like if you took like every like dramatic movie and like horror film and then smushed them together, that was like my year. So
Just
just
just on the one.
oh gosh, it was a mess. A mess. And that's just been how it's been since 2019.
So do you think maybe this is going to sound maybe
Crazy.
totally absurd, um, but maybe it's spirit's way of saying to you, right, you've been dabbling in investigations for so long, your time's come now where we just throw everything at you.
Yeah, I think so. It just put me in the ringer. I mean, it could be just like also the energy that, I'm surrounded with, you know, and the mindset that I had draws in, different kind. If you're a negative person all the time, you're gonna have a lot of negative things happen to you and, such. And I was in my head so much that I think that, with each thing that was happening, the more and more it was causing, it was like almost like a cycle. Um, and I needed something to snap me out of that. And once it did, I feel like that's when I started to see the changes. And that's like with the yoga stuff that I've been doing and Pilates and stuff. It's been really just more for my mind. And that's been really helpful.
So you're a horror hostess as well on
Yes.
Paraflix.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So Paraflix is a paranormal streaming network. They have a bunch of different types of shows on there, podcasts, talk shows, just movies, documentaries, all different variations of paranormal stuff from like UFOs to Bigfoot to, aliens. And so it's not just like ghosts and it's not the same, 5 shows only,
Hmm.
with repeats over and over again. It's new locations, it's real people, it's um all over the world. And it's really, really, really cool to see what Natalie has done with Patty for this streaming network. It's really beautiful. She gives a lot of people who wouldn't normally have the voice to share their experiences and stuff like that a platform to be able to do that. And so what I do with that is I help promote. their stuff, and I believe in it, otherwise I wouldn't do it. And I'll do like different things at different events, and um my own little short things, social media stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we tried out for part of we've got friends of ours, GSI, they're called, they're based down in Nottingham. They're on Paraflix.
Yeah.
And they said to us about, I think it was 3-4 years ago now, why don't you try and go on Paraflix? So we did. We did a podcast with GSI. We set up a podcast with CSI, GSI, and I don't know what CSI gave me, and we put it forward to Natalie, but she kind of politely declined.
I think that there's times when there's a lot coming in at once. And then, so I think it's best to keep up that relationship, that business relationship, regardless, because she has a lot of things being sent in all the time. And so it's just a balance of where they are at. So if they had too many of one thing at that point, then they're going to want to, you see what I'm saying? And so like it's an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
So I would still keep up that communication.
It's a bit like a newspaper. If a newspaper gets too many, robbery stories in the one, they'll just maybe pick one or two or whatever. But because Patty, we've had Patty on. Oh, we've had Patty on many, many times. I think she's brilliant. She cannot understand me.
She can't.
No, every time she's got this kind of confused. When I'm talking to Patty, if she's not understood me, she puts on this kind of confused look, and she has to ask Sarah, who's usually on with Patty with me, what did he say?
Aw.
I think maybe I talk too fast or whatever, but she's a lovely lady,
Yeah.
and see, we've had her on, I don't know how many times, I've lost count, but she can never understand. And I do try and talk slow.
Are you talking slow now?
This is me talking slow.
Oh, I want to hear you talk normal. I want to see if I can't understand you too.
We really want to hear me talk normal, because many people say they just don't understand Glaswegians when they start talking, so yabba, 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 and gibberish and stuff.
I understand it.
So I can talk fast with you?
I think so. We'll find out. We'll find out. If my eyes start going like this, then you'll know.
If you ever come to Glasgow, sit and listen to two Glaswegians having a conversation, because the longer they talk, the faster they talk.
Really?
And I mean, always I've done it many, many times, and we can totally understand each other, but people sit beside us, but what did you say? I'll tell you a quick story before we carry on. I've got a good friend stays down in London. We grew up together in Glasgow, basically, but he moved to London many years ago. And I went down to visit him one time. He's got a girlfriend. She's a lovely girl. She's from the west of London. And so I arrived there one day on the Monday, and I met his girlfriend, Julie. I was, how you doing? Pleased to meet you. The usual stuff you say when you meet somebody. Yeah. I've heard all about you, even though you've heard nothing. I've heard all about you and stuff. But she kept saying yes to me. So the Tuesday night we were out in a pub, and Brian was up at the bar. So I went up and says to Brian, "Is Julie okay?" "What do you mean?" I said, "Because she keeps saying yes constantly." He says, "That's because since you arrived yesterday morning, she's not understood one word you've said." So, seriously, nearly 2 days. She doesn't know what you're saying. So I mean, bless her, I had to go over and say, "Listen, Julie, if you don't understand me, then just tell me, and I'll write it down for you, or I'll speak a lot slower or something." But she was like, there's something wrong with this woman,
Let me cry.
Right, she's not understood a word you've said in 2 days. Oh, well,
I don't understand. Why wouldn't she say something sooner?
Well,
Maybe
that's it,
embarrassed. She didn't want to embarrass
I mean, I'm
herself.
half deaf, and if sometimes I'll only hear people, the full sentence or whatever, and you'll get maybe 2 or 3 words, and I'll say, what did you say? It can be annoying for the other person,
Mhm.
if you keep, but no, this lady, I mean, she was brilliant, she was a lovely lady, but I felt sorry for her after Brian told she just know what you're talking about, Scott, so slow down,
I think that's
but
cute.
how do we go? We'll talk about Pie. That's how we go. But no, I'll maybe can maybe give Paraflex another look. Because GSI, they're still on it. They do investigations. I think they're on their 4th or 5th season
Powerful.
with Paraflex now. You know what I mean? So is that your favourite kind of genre, horror? Horror film?
I don't necessarily. I think I'm more of like a mood person for me. I'm very much into your typical like 80s slasher films and things like that. I like historical horror. I feel like history is horror enough. So I like to watch things that take place at a later time period, in an earlier time period.
No, I totally get what you mean the
Okay.
historical horror, especially in Britain. I know we've got a lot more history than you guys have, but I mean, some of the periods in time in Britain were pretty horrific.
Hmm.
But I mean, if you take the likes of the Tudors, Henry VIII, but he was, they estimated it was 72,000 people he executed.
Yeah, that's a whole lot. But they want to call, no, I don't know. His daughter, they call her Bloody Mary, but I feel like they say that she actually executed the least amount.
She did. She only executed, as far as I know, 350 as
Yeah.
the kind of estimated total.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
because it's a big difference in it.
it's incredible to me. Like that. Yes.
And the thing is, you could be executed for anything, stealing a loaf of bread,
I
stealing a sheep,
know. I know.
you know, treason, you were hung, high treason, you were hung, drawn, and quartered. If you poisoned somebody, you were boiled alive.
I know. I heard about that guy. He was like, there was somebody that was a chef to the king, and he wanted to play a joke on him. Well, not a joke, but he just wanted to give him a little bit of extra bathroom time, and he got dipped
Boiled
like,
alive.
yes, slowly, like the mindset. Interesting.
You wonder who came up with these kind of punishments.
Just random people I think they'd pick out of a hat. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know how you'd come up with such a thing. Their mindsets were way different back then.
So you like the blood and guts kind of thing?
I don't I don't necessarily like gore per se. I like the suspense. I like that build up. And I'm more of that suspense over the jump scare, over the gore and all that other stuff. I like an actual story. Um I think I go back to the 80s slasher movies just because that's nostalgic for me. When I was young with my father, he was into that kind of horror, so we would go and we would watch those things, and then we would watch cartoons. So it was like a nice
It's a bit of
balance.
difference, watching maybe Jason Voorhees and then watching Donald Duck.
Exactly.
You know, well, that's Jason. He just mutilated 20 people. But let's see what Daffy and Donald are up to now.
They also run around and shoot people. They were just as violent.
But that's actually how I get into the paranormal through the kind of 80s slasher movies. Freddy, Halloween, all that kind of stuff. Nightmare on Elm Street. That's what first got me interested in all the kind of spooky stuff.
Yeah. That I think
You
so
know,
too. That led me into it. It opened the door.
and then I get into this spiritual side and what have you. But as you said, I film a good story. I love the Saw film. I'm a big Saw fan.
What was the last thing you said?
I like the saw film. Was that too fast there? Did I
No.
say
I
that
just
too fast?
couldn't. I just straight up didn't understand you.
Right, I'll say it slow. I am a big Saw fan.
Okay. I still don't know what you're saying. You're a big something
Saw,
fan. Soul fan.
Saw,
Saw.
the Saw,
Saw.
Saw.
Like Saw, like the movies. You like the go. Okay. See, I thought you were putting that. All right. I see what you did. Okay, you got me. You got me.
Did I get you with that one?
Saw, yeah, that was a little, but now I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Good. Eh, I like the Saw films because I do. I like to see people losing limbs and stuff. I will admit, you know. Um,
I mean, I mean, if that's your thing, then
I'm not. I don't go out and chop people's arms or anything off with that, in real life. But
you didn't watch Terrifier?
I watched Terrifier. I want to say the clown. He's
Yeah.
no he's a demonic clown. I watched Terrifier. He was one bad dude.
Yeah, that has a lot. That reminds me a little bit of. It has like the Saw type of
And then
lopping
his,
off an
his
arm.
girlfriend as well.
Yeah. Cute.
She wasn't exactly a raving beauty. I mean, but for me, it was when I was pregnant with my son, was staying with my mum's. I woke up one night and saw the pet dog I grew up with. The weird thing was my mum said to me when she came home, and I start that again. For me, it was when I was pregnant with my son and was staying with my mum, right? I woke up one night and saw a pet dog that I grew up with, whose dog had passed away. The weird thing was, her mum said to her when she came home that her mum had dreamt that she saw Tara. Is that right, Laura?
That gave
Her
me
mum told her.
goosebumps.
Laura gets that in investigations. Do you get that?
Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Do I get
See,
them? Yeah.
if we're investigating and maybe aye, that's right. If you're investigating and maybe you feel that there's somebody around us, then Laura goes all goosebumps.
Yeah, I had that. Yeesh.
But I was terrified. I did. I liked the films, and but I like the Saw films because there's you've got your blood and guts.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, people losing different appendages and what have you, but there's also a storyline to it.
Yeah.
It's not just about a guy who kidnaps people and puts them in traps and hopes that they've got to try and get out of it. But there is an actual storyline that follows all the way through the the Saw film. So I do like stories like films like that.
Yeah.
Um, because don't get me wrong, I watched I watched one the day actually, The Devil's Mouth. Laura asked me to tell what it was like. It's on Netflix. It's with
Mm-hmm.
these a group of people who get trapped in these underwater caves, and there's this big shark going about eating them. It's actually quite good.
Yeah.
That's a bit of useless information there. I get it all the time. I can't explain the goosebumps. Maybe I'm more in tune than I realise.
Yeah.
Yes,
Your
dear, it was.
body.
It was a good film. I recommend watch The Devil's Mouth. Um, so have you had any other kind of scary moments? Any kind of I'm never going back there again moments?
Um, outside of that one place I told you about. Yeah. I well, not that I'm not going back there, but I did work at the Conjuring House in Rhode Island. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that was quite haunted. And there was one night when nobody was in the house and everyone had just left. I just watched them leave on the security camera. So the tour guides locked up that little gate and drove away. And I began to hear running, and it sounded like it was coming from the basement stairs and from the top stairs all at the same time until they both met on the middle floor. And then the doorknobs started rattling, and they're the kind that you have to do this with, and it has the lever. So those started going, and I was scared, and I don't normally get scared. I called up the one person that had just left, and I said, "Are you sure no?" Meanwhile, I'm looking at the cameras. I could see no one is there. But are you sure? Are you sure nobody did that? And then for like a week after that, all the doors would blow open. All the door, like it was like, you know, a crazy energy that week. It was really that was that was scary. I was there alone, I think, and being in like knowing like the lore of the Conjuring house and being in there alone and being on the property alone. I was like, is this thing gonna throw me around like a ping pong ball? But nothing happened other than that.
Do you think maybe sometimes it's a mindset?
Yeah, I do. I think you can. I think you can either trip yourself out more, or I feel like you can create your own haunting.
And
So,
especially, I think if you know the history of the place, which we've got, no doubt you've heard the Greyfriars Kirkyard in Edinburgh.
hmm
You know, the Mackenzie Poltergeist and what have you, the Covenanters prison as well, which is attached to the Kirkyard. Well, in the Covenanters prison, there's over 3,000 documented attacks in this one area. It's called there's a tomb in there called the Black Mausoleum. All the attacks seem to centre around this one mausoleum. But when you go for the Kirkyard, Greyfriars is said to be the most haunted kirkyard in the world. We've been there dozens of times. We were there last week, in fact. We've never experienced anything there. You know, it's always very, very peaceful, laid back. But as soon as you get into the Covenanters, you do feel no apprehensive, but you do feel a change in the atmosphere, whether it's daytime or nighttime. It's always the same. As soon as the gates are locked, but as soon as you get in, you do feel. And sometimes I think, you know, part of it is because you know what's happened there. You know the history of the place, so your mind's kind of expecting something or someone to kind of pop out.
right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there is also a good way to kind of test that theory. If especially if it's a place that you know that you're going to, if there are people that you can go with that you trust, and you just they pick like a random day to go or a random, you just don't tell someone that you're going and you blindfold them and then you walk them through. And if they can feel like that shift still without knowing where they are or whatever, then that might be a cool thing to test.
That's actually a good idea. I've never thought of doing that.
Yeah.
I'll need to keep that one in mind. But just what you're saying about attachments, you know, a lot of people don't think spirit can follow you home. Or what?
It's not a common thing.
It's not a common thing. I mean, one night we went to Edinburgh and we did a place called Canongate Kirk. It's a kind of smaller version of Greyfriars Kirkyard. And as soon as we walked in the gate, we felt that we weren't wanted.
Mm.
You know, everybody had that feeling you're not wanted here. So the girls, they turned about and they went back to the car. Sarah saw what she described as a black shadow crossing over the path. So the girls went back to the car and I had a wee wander around the Kirkyard. When I came out of the Kirkyard, I was absolutely furious. I was raging. Now, I'm quite a laid-back guy, as everybody will tell you. And nothing happened in the Kirkyard.
Right.
I just sort of walked around, took some pictures, but when I came out, it just, I don't know, if somebody had been walking by, I'm going to sneeze. No, sorry. No, it's not. Laura, for Laura knows, Laura, she's really good pals, and Laura agreed that I've got a gay sneeze. But I was telling Shannon before we go, I was going to sneeze, and I was saying that Sarah's turns it called it a gay sneeze. I thought so. Shannon was wanting me to sneeze, so I'm trying to summon a sneeze. I mean, when I came out this, it's not happening. I've got a sniffle. I've got I might have the man flu. I don't know.
I have a feather. I want to tickle your nose with it.
I hope it's a big feather. I'm looking at that. No, not happening. There's Laura saying, so gay for a man. I'll get your other
She makes me
comment
laugh.
up in a wee second, though. But no, I came out this courtyard and I was absolutely fuming about nothing. And we were going up to Greyfriars after it, so we jumped in the car. And the further I got away from Cannon Gate, the anger just disappeared. And it was so weird that I just could not explain it.
That's weird.
Have you ever had anything like that happen to you? A couple of people had said, well, that's because there was a negative spirit in there and they had attached themselves to you, but when you drove away, they kind of let go.
Sometimes I do feel like, not necessarily, like if you think of it as energy, you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like you can tap into that energy, you know, and so then maybe that's what, and then you released it. You know, I have seen that happen. Could it be like that you had an attachment that stuck with you and then whatever? I'm not going to say no. I think that you can also feel energy around you. You don't have to be a psychic person to do that. It's just an instinct that your body has, a shift in energy. And I think that sometimes you are more susceptible to tap into different frequencies of that energy, and so maybe that is something that you were able to tap into at that point, and you were feeling those emotions of whoever left that energy there. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does make a lot of sense to say. You know, when we got there, it was just this big feel we're not wanted here. You know, somebody does not want us to go in here, and Sarah saw the shadow, then back to the car, and I thought, no, sod it. I'm going to tell you, I'm going for a walk.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk round the cut, and then I came out and I was absolutely fuming. I've got a comment for Laura, I'll stick up his end, but I'm noticing the skeleton with a hat on up on your wall.
Which, this guy?
We've got one of them.
You got him?
We've got the same.
My little friend.
We've got him hanging up.
It's my fancy Skelly.
We've got a bride and groom one.
Oh, how cute! I don't have a bride one.
Oh, you need to get a bride one because he looks kind of lonely up there.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm looking for it. I don't have one, so I don't know why.
Do you know you have missed them? Oh, we've got two big ones in the mannequin size, but we've got two smaller ones in the hall because we get married on Halloween last year.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you, and we get married in the crypt.
That is really cool.
At our favourite location, Loudon Kirk, get married in the crypt there. So all our decorations were, you know, because it was Halloween and we're kind of spooky people, it was all kind of spooky wedding sort of thing.
I like it.
You know, but I'll send you a picture of our big ones. We've got a big Mr. and Mrs. sits in there. Thanks, Laura, for that. Thanks, Laura, for what?
Did someone make you the skeletons?
No, we bought them at a shop, a local shop here, and we just dressed them up. I don't know what. Thank you, Laura, for. Just Laura says she loves an attachment. But get married. We were meant to get married inside the gates of the Kirk, but the weather was absolutely dreadful because of Scotland, also. And so Laura spoke to the people who look after the Kirkyard, and they said we could get married in the crypt.
Oh wow!
she keeps reminding us, it's nearly a year down the line, but she keeps reminding us, there was,
I think it's cute.
Oh, it was an amazing day. It was absolutely, just not just because it was our wedding day, but because of where we got married and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like a kind of dream come true sort of thing. Laura says she's it's a bit of a weird one with Laura.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you can figure this out.
I get
maybe.
it, and I understand it, and I sometimes feel that way with mine too. Sometimes I feel like it is protective of me. And sometimes I feel like though it is also hindering me as well. It can be very draining at times, but it could also be protective. The attachment itself wasn't necessarily like the bad thing, it was what followed it. That was the bad thing that I experienced, which is why I say I was scared of that man. But yeah, I think that yeah, I like the way that that's said.
Laura's, whenever we pick Laura up, she sits in the back of the car basically, and she'll sit either behind me or behind Sarah, so the middle seat's empty, but the middle seatbelt, beeper always goes off.
Uh-huh.
If there's somebody sitting in that seat that's not put their belt up, but there's nobody there.
I've had that happen in my car too. That's so funny. In my passenger seat when I'm alone. And then I'll be driving for a hot minute, and then all of a sudden it just starts beeping. I just wind up plugging in the seatbelt just to get it to stop.
It's a strange one, isn't it?
It is.
At first, it happened in our three cars ago, no, 2 cars ago. It started happening. I don't know how, was it our second last car? Not the last one, but the one before that. As you can see, I can waffle, I can gibber. At first, we thought it was a faulty sensor.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, it happened in our current car and the one we had before then. And these last 2 cars are totally different make. One car was a Ford, the other 2 are Suzuki's.
Okay.
So we kind of ruled out the faulty sensor scenario.
Right.
But it seems just I don't know, it just seems to happen. No, I don't feel any different. I'm still me. That's exactly what I do. It's unexplained. It's just a very weird one. Shannon, but you say it happens to you.
I have had that happen to me.
Oh.
Yeah, I have. I have a Hyundai. So I was gonna ask what kind of car, just in case. I'm like, maybe it's a thing. But I do. I have a different kind of car. So I have had that happen. I've had this car though since 2019. I've not had a different car. I just never. I always just assumed it was just being weird. So you never know.
But then
I have had that happen.
Here's a question then, because you say spirit. All right, believe that your spirit does have a certain amount of weight. I've seen these stories before that people have weighed, somebody prior to death and then after death, and they're X amount of pounds or whatever lighter. So they say the soul does have a wee bit of weight. But surely, how can I put this without sounding weird? If a spirit was sitting in a passenger seat, would there be enough weight there to set the sensor off?
I don't know. I think that maybe it could be just an electrical interference, because maybe from the EMF, maybe from whatever. I don't know if every spirit has mass in that sense where it would hold a weight, but it is an energy. So that's a tough question, honestly, because you have seen stories where people have shown like a bed or a couch where all of a sudden it dips down like something had sat in it. So I mean, it's hard to say.
That used to happen a lot in our last house. You would feel and you would see the mattress going down. It happened on a daily basis. And a couple of times, I'd be lying on the bed and you would feel something. We took cats, and it was as if, I'd be lying there watching the TV and you'd feel the jump, and you'd look up expecting to see one of the cats in the bed, but there was no cats there, but you still felt the jumpy feeling.
That's kind of cool. But did you have cats in the past, or?
No, the two cats. This was our first ever cats. But it felt like something that jumped onto the bed, and I looked down expecting to see one of them. But you'd actually sit and watch the mattress going down.
That's spooky. I like that.
I thought it was amazing.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
So you're kind of weird and mixed up then? The same as this?
Well, I'm a little weird. I'm weird. I can't be normal.
Well, I mean, everybody says that people in the paranormal are all weird and stuff like that, and ask T what happens on my bed. She's witnessed it, and also interaction with my two Shelley and Mew. T's our daughter. I'll need to ask her what happens on Laura's bed. Shelley and Mew were Laura's pets. Have passed on now, but she's got their ashes in the house, and she's a cat ball sitting between their ashes, and the cat ball would go off at different times. So I believe that animals have got souls as well.
I think so. I feel like I've heard my dog, his little taps on the floor. And then I had a friend. I worked up the road. I used to do hair, and she would help me out, and she had just a very bad headache that day, and she lived about 45 minutes from where we were working, and my apartment was only like less than 5 minutes. So I gave her my key and I said, go to my house, go and take a nap and go to sleep till you feel better, and I'll just whatever. So when I came home, she was still sleeping on my couch, and when I woke up, the reason why this is weird is I came out and my dog greeted me on my front lawn. My new dog greeted me on my front lawn, and I got upset because I was like, why are you outside with nobody here? Like, what happened? I come down into the apartment, and she's telling me that she woke up from me being mad about my dog being outside. I was talking to someone outside about it, and when I came in, she was like scared. I was like, what's wrong? She's like, your dog was laying on my chest though. So she felt him jump up on the thing and lay, and he was cool enough that he would have, he's a Bichon. But he was not out there. My old dog though looks similar, a little bit bigger, but I think that she met my old dog.
Wow. Especially, obviously she's got nothing to gain by telling you, a fake story or anything.
She looked terrified. So I don't think that she, and I don't even know she really knew too much about my old dog. I don't want to call him my old dog. That hurts my feelings. But my beloved baby that went that way.
Well, at least the dog's still around you.
Yeah.
Laura says she'll send you the video. She's talking about the cat ball.
That'd be cool. I would love to see it.
She'd love your opinion. But you see, that's the thing. Again, lots of weird things happen in life, and we just don't, we don't know why. I mean, I've been married 3 times, and my first marriage, we had, this is before mobile phones, so I'm kind of giving away my age a wee bit here, but however, we didn't have mobile phones, so it was landlines, and the phone would ring, and I would say to my wife every time, that's your mum. And she would pick up and it'd be her mum, or that's your sister. And she would say, how do you know who's on that? I said, I don't know. I just know that phone goes, I know who it is. Wow. And we didn't have, caller ID or anything like that like we do now. All right, Laura, I'm 60. You and I are definitely going to fall out. I don't look 60, but you know, when I do my serious face,
Uh,
that was my. Go on, Shannon. If you just met me in the street or the sidewalk, as you guys say, what age would you think I was?
well, not 60. Not
I see
60.
that'll do for me. There you go, Laura. No
Yeah,
60.
you don't look 60.
I know you need to say that because you're on this show, but you know, says who? Aye, you and I'll talk. You put me off what I was saying, Laura. I can't remember what I
Oh
was.
gosh, she cracks me up.
She only stays 2 minutes at 2 minutes walk for us, and she's got binoculars. Mm-hmm. That's my wife finally joining. Her daughter got a the VR things.
Oh,
She
cool.
got she's 10. No, my wife, my daughter's 10. My wife's
Yeah.
10. So I'd add that in there just in case, you thought things were different laws in Scotland or anything like that, So Sarah, my wife, she's been messing about with this thing for the last 3 or 4 hours trying to get it to work. I tried it on, but I think you look dead stupid with them on. You get big things, and you're going with this.
Yeah, yeah.
You ever tried them?
Yeah, I have. I hurt my hand because I accidentally punched the wall.
You punched the wall. I don't know. I tried it on, but it's just
It did. It had me flailing my arms around. I had swords or lightsaber things, and I whap right. Oh.
I was watching Sarah earlier on. She had the thing on, and I was sitting beside her, and she's got this. Anything here, Okay, we're playing this game. What age do I look like? I don't know if you're asking me or you're asking.
I can't
Shannon.
see from your picture, but you look young too. I feel like you're what?
I was going to. Well, what age do you think she looks, and then I'll tell you her real age.
42.
Oh, 40, 47, I think.
She looks good.
It's
and that's only because of the shadow in the photo. That's the only reason why I gave that age. I bet she looks younger than that.
I'm saying nothing. As I say, we were chatting, our shows we can start talking paranormal, and then we can talk, some of our shows I've ended up talking about how to pack a suitcase for a holiday and cooking recipes, and shows can just go anywhere. So I was saying, so the landline would go, and I would be able to tell who was on that phone. Now, see, I'm not psychic, but it's all these weird little things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you just cannot explain it.
Yeah.
But you're also an actress. I meant to ask you way back at the start. So tell us about your acting, because I've interviewed quite a few actors. I'm not boasting or anything, that's not, but
So, I played Vampira in a movie short, a horror short that was a tribute to Ed Wood and Vampira, and then I moved on from there, and I was in a short part in Jim Haggerty's Unnatural Causes. I can never remember the name. And then I just finished filming in March in a feature called Hellbound Covenant, where I play the part of a woman called Lady Raven. And it's kind of like a religious horror type paranormal-ish film. More religious horror. cult stuff. And then currently in production for a movie called The Brink. So I'm excited. I do a lot of indie type stuff for now. And I'm excited because I did just get an agent. So it'll be easier to hopefully move forward with this, get more opportunities.
Well, that's it. I mean, we work quite closely. It's a company called CRA Entertainment. They're an indie film company. They've made six films, and they're owned by David Espinosa and Craig Adams. They've been in the business for over 40 years, and we've done a lot of shows with them. And I've interviewed all the cast for all their films. And they helped. We did a thing called the Wallace Trail last year. It was kind of following the story about the unknown story of William Wallace. So they were advising us, on, we would film it, send it to them, and they would have a look at it and say, well, you could tweak this or do that, or and so they're really, we count them as family, and also John Ozuna. I don't know if you've heard of John Ozuna.
No.
He's done with CRA Entertainment. He was also done The Bouncer. He was in Venom. He starred alongside Costas Mandylor.
Okay.
Who played Detective Hoffman in the Saw films.
Okay.
So, it's a good thing to get into. So your big break just might be around the corner.
I hope so. And I do enjoy doing the indie films too. I do enjoy that a lot. Like there's a lot of like passion, behind it. I'm sure for all films, but that's my experience so far, and I enjoy seeing their faces when they see, like, when their images is coming to life, and it's just really cool for me to watch that whole process and be a part of it. So
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, it's nothing the scale that you've done, you're much small, but when we have a question for you for Laura, which I'm sticking on the wee second, when we done like the Wallace Trail, we would go out and film it, in Stirling, Falkirk, different places, and then Sarah, we send it to David and Craig. They would look at it, and then Sarah does all the editing bit, puts it all together. And when you sit back and you watch it, so they're only 15, 20 minutes long. There's only small episodes, but when you sit back and watch it, that's quite a good feeling.
yeah.
You're sitting there and you watch it, it's all came together.
Do you have it? Do you have that up anywhere?
It's on our YouTube channel. I'll send you the link for it.
Please do.
I was just we did it with the Society of William Wallace as well, because everybody's seen Braveheart. It's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
But it's no 100%.
No, it's not accurate.
And Braveheart just tells the basic story of Wallace. Where he was born, how he ended up disliking the English, covers some battles, and then his execution. But it doesn't show. William Wallace was connected to so many other places, that Braveheart doesn't show you. So we try to a lot of places that people don't know about.
Right.
They pass by them every day and don't notice. I mean, a quick example, I'm Glaswegian, as you know. There's a massive big cemetery in the middle of Glasgow called the Necropolis, the City of the Dead. And there's a monument in it, and it's called the Bell of the Bray.
Okay.
And I'd passed this hundreds of times. And you know, I saw the monument. Oh, that's quite nice. It kept going, but I didn't. I wasn't told we started doing the Wallace Trail that I found out that marks the spot where William Wallace had one of his first battles.
Wow.
And there used to be a castle very nearby, Glasgow Castle, and Wallace took the castle and he burnt it to the ground. You know, and this is right in the middle of, obviously it wasn't a city then, but it's just one of these wee things that you pass by, but you don't realise the significance of it. So that's what we try to do with the Wallace Trail. But I'll send you it's on YouTube, but Laura's asking you question, if you could investigate anywhere, where would it be and why? You need to say Scotland.
If I can investigate anywhere. If I could investigate anywhere, where would it be and why? Well, I'm a very big history person, so I would want to expand outside of the United States where I am. I would probably want to go over to Europe. I might want to go to Ireland because they have roots in Ireland, and I think it would be pretty interesting to try and see if I could connect with my ancestors. I would want to go to Scotland. I would want to go to England. I would want to go everywhere there. I would. There's so much history there. That's a very great question, but it's a very hard question for me specifically to answer because I am such a history nerd. I just wanted everywhere.
Well, you see, that's a good question, but trying to answer it, it's because there's that many places that I would love to investigate. In America as well. You get Alcatraz. I would love to investigate Alcatraz.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't think of that one.
What's that big sanatorium? What is it? Waverly Hills.
Oh, Waverly Sanatorium. Waverly Hills.
Aye, Waverly Hills. I would love to get in there because we don't have anything like that here.
Really?
We've got loads of graveyards, castles, old churches, that kind of stuff. But I want a big, no offense to people, but a kind of psychiatric hospital. I love the massive basements. You see the films you see, and they've got huge dark basements, corridors that go on for miles. I would love to get into something like that, but we don't have anything like that here.
Well, then get here, and then we can go.
There's two. Oh, I would love it.
Laura and your Sarah.
They wouldn't go into the basement. Well, they might. I don't know, but I would. I mean, we've got two old stately homes over here that are kind of nearby. They're ruins now. One's Caldwell and one's called Drkness. And they've got basements. They're no massive basements, but I love they're big enough. And I love going down in the basement when it's dark, just myself.
Mm-hmm. That's scary.
And just sitting.
When you sit down there, do you talk or do you just sit and listen?
Just sit and listen. Just sit and listen. I did a Drkness one night. I went down for about, we had another team. They stayed up the stairs. I'm doing myself half an hour, 45 minutes. I was there for. And Laura saying, good, say good night. Thanks for a fabulous live. If I had my big girl pants on, I'll consider it. Oh. I know pants over there is a totally different thing. Pants.
Sorry, I don't know why I laughed so hard at that.
Well, pants in America's trousers, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, pants. Like
pants over here's underwear.
I know. I'm sorry, it makes me laugh. I think it's fun.
I did this basement Drkness and I sat for half an hour, 3/4 an hour, and I think I got a wee flicker off the K2, just one flicker, and that was it. Hope to see you again. Oh, I think come back on. I think we
Yeah.
can convince her to come back on. But no, I love all the just the dark, creepy places,
Yeah.
you know, and just to go and sit
Excuse me.
and no call out, just to sit and listen,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because you just, as I said earlier on, you just don't know what's going to happen. That's it. Do you love that about investigating? No doubt you've had people say to you, Sharon, no, you go investigating, like you sit for hours and nothing happens, it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
Do you people come up and say that kind of thing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you?
yeah. Yeah. It can
But
be. But it could also be it's a good for me, I like it. Um
yeah,
I
I
do
like the anticipation,
yeah.
you
Um
know.
with my old team, we used to record on a digital recorder for the entire process from when we got there to when we left. Um, even after sometimes we would forget to turn it off, so it would be on in the car. So I liked that. Was it a pain in the butt? Yeah, because you had to sit through as much time as you were there. You had to sit through all of that and relive all of that
Hmm.
to see if you got anything. But I liked it because there were times when you would be by yourself and you would be sitting there just quiet and you would have someone communicating with you. But I would feel bad, because then, you might not know it in the moment, especially if they were asking for like help or whatever. And that always made me feel guilty. But I enjoy those moments too. I like to go where it's the darkest and creepiest. Shut me in there.
I see.
Leave me.
I love that.
Talk to you
I,
later.
I, I, I totally love that. You know, and you get one thing I don't understand is I've never got my head around this. I don't know if you're the same, but you see, I watch teams on YouTube and wherever. No offense to them, but and they'll be sitting there and they'll hear a noise and then they'll run away.
Yeah. I have run. I'm not gonna lie. I have run, but I go back. I go back because I think sometimes your initial reaction, flight or fright, woof, but I do go back, because that is why I'm there. Especially when you're asking for some sort of communication,
Hmm.
and then they communicate and you run away. It's silly. I think I know it throws you off because you're not actually expecting something always to happen. So I think it's funny. I laugh
I've,
so hard.
I've never get my head around that. So well, why are you running away? That's like going fishing and you catch a fish and you throw your rod in the water. Not that a fish, but that's like, well, I got a fish. Oof, throw it in. Why? Why are you doing it? What about people? I know, again, no offense to anyone that does it, but just what you're saying that, and we've had it as well. Spirits will say, help me. I need help, whatever. What about these people that kind of force spirits to move on, to move over? Go to the light kind of thing. Do
Yeah.
you do you agree with that? Do you think that they should be forced to go to the light?
Well, I don't know if you can force them to go. Right. The whole idea technically is that we have free will.
Hmm.
So, if we have free will, our spirit has free will. Um I would think, unless there's a little, as far as I know, we have free will. So, I
No, this is a
think
rule
I
book on the
think
other side.
do I agree with forcing a spirit to move on if they're not asking for help? I don't think you should touch anything or try to do anything that you don't know what you're communicating with or what you're whatever. I don't think that you should force anyone, living or not, to do something that they might not want to do. Um, and I would hope that just by them saying that alone doesn't shove somebody into something that they don't want to be in, and that they still have that free will to say, you know, maybe there's still lessons that they have to learn. Maybe there's things that they have to help other people learn, and it's not time for
Mm.
them to move on yet. Um, maybe the help is a moment in time from when things were going on when they were a living body, and not necessarily like an echo, and not necessarily that they're asking for help now. Now, if you have a spirit that's saying, hey, I need help, help me get to the light, or help me, whatever. I know someone who does that kind of a thing, but only, he'll say, those of you who want help. And that's a big difference. Those of you who want help, I will help you. Or I'll say a prayer. Do you want me to pray over you? And I feel like that's a different take on it. That's not aggressive. That's not bullying somebody away. And so no, I don't think that's right if people do that without permission.
Because I've seen a couple of folk do it, and they'll say, right, go to the light and go through the light, and you'll be safe in the light, blah blah blah. But I'm the same kind of thing as you. We do have free will, yeah, and if somebody on the other side is asking for help, then you can reassure them. Maybe if you want to go to the light, then go. You'll be safe.
Yeah.
Or you can stay here. It's entirely up to you. But I say it just kind of annoys me sometimes when especially these fake people. No doubt
Right.
you've came across them as well.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well,
They'll,
all for
they'll say
views,
that
right?
I banish you to the light, demonic spirit, blah 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 blah. And you think, oh no. It's just that to me that side's kind of getting beyond the joke. I know I said we were only going to run for an hour. I'm going to wind it up soon, dog. Don't worry. I've got a question for you, right? I've asked a few people this. See, sometimes I just get random thoughts will pop into my head. Random, and they'll sit in there and they'll go, spin round and round and round. So, well, I've heard that you have many people say, "Oh, my dad passed 20 years ago, and that's him just coming through to me now." Whatever, dad, mum, whoever. My theory on this is that obviously spirit has a totally different concept, if any, of time than we do. So if you get a man who's passed over, say the year 2000,
Mm-hmm.
and he passes over and he gets into the light and he meets his loved ones, and then he decides to come back again to check on his family here. Now to him, it's just been maybe a matter of seconds, matter of minutes, whatever. But on this side, it's been like 10, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think maybe that explains why all these people say, "I've never ever heard from my dad"? He passed in 1990. You think that's kind of plausible or possible, whatever?
I think so. And I think that some people have a certain expectation of a sign that they're going to get. And I think that they might be getting those signs. They just aren't acknowledging them, and they're not realizing that those are the signs. And yes, and I do agree with that. I do agree with that also, because there is supposedly no time concept. So for them, I guess, like for us, 20 years could be a blip for them,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
It's the same. It's it's the same kind of thing that say you've got a married couple, and the husband passes over in the year 2000, and the wife passes over in 2030.
Hmm.
So that's like 30 years. The wife would have been waiting to be reunited with her husband, but to him, is that just a matter of seconds
Hmm.
that he passes them by and his wife's there with him,
Right.
or am I making any sense? See, these are the
You
kind of
are.
things that
You are. No,
pop
you
into
are
my
making
head.
sense to me. You're making sense.
Um, and so these are the kind of things that just pop into my head sometimes. It can be
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 in the morning, and it'll pop
I
out.
think
Wait
that's
a minute,
interesting. I think that's an
you know,
interesting thought for sure.
And because we've all heard the saying, "Oh, your husband's here. He's waiting on you."
Hmm.
You know, And you think, well, if he's waiting, if they don't know any concept of time, is he waiting? Or is she? I'm getting myself mixed up now. This is how my head goes at times. You know, is he waiting or is she there with him in his mind?
I think
Do you know
both,
what I mean?
maybe. Why not both? I mean, because if you think about it, if she, I think both. And I don't know how to explain why I think both, but I'm going to try. If there's no concept of time, and from what you're saying, she's waiting for him and that blip of time, but she's already with him. That's what you're saying, right? Because there
Mm-hmm.
was that for him, that 30 years was just this much. So where that
Just
sign would have
that.
come in that 30 years, she was already with him. But on the same token, you're saying, but if she was, they say he's waiting for you, is he there waiting for her, or is she with him already? And I think it's both. And
It's, it's quite confusing, isn't it? When you start to.
I wish I could explain it better. Like I reiterated what you said, but I think maybe pieces of it, like, so I feel like maybe, yes, he is there with her still and in physical, with her physical body, but I think he's also with her spiritual body. And I
Mm,
think that, maybe pieces of that, go. And then that last bit, they come, I don't know. I don't know. It's
I've tried to.
interesting.
I've tried to explain it to myself, and I've confused myself trying to explain it to
Same.
myself. You know. Well, this is the last one, right? I promise this is the last one. I've asked a few people this as well. So it's about dreams, right? So we've all had dreams where we've been in two or three different places. You know, you could dream you're on holiday and then you're at home, then suddenly you're at work.
Mm-hmm.
But in the dream, we're not aware that we're dreaming, and two, there's no concept of how we got from A to B to C.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't remember flying home from holiday on a plane. You know, you maybe on a beach in Tenerife and bang, you're sitting in your front room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as I say, you're not aware that you're dreaming. So, do you think that's maybe how it feels to be in spirit? Because we've heard the saying that, oh, this, I've got an Alex here, but he doesn't realise that he's passed on.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think that can make sense.
And that's how spirit can be in different places without any concept of travelling. Time is, in a dream, you don't have a concept of time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So say you go for holiday to your home, but you don't say, well, that took me half an hour to get here.
That's
You
true.
just
Yeah.
bang, you're there.
Yeah.
And you don't give any thought to how you got there. You just accept the fact that you're there. Does that make sense?
I think it does. I think it really does. And I like the way your brain works. It's interesting to me.
Oh, it confuses the hell out of me.
Well, it's good for conversation. Like it really is. It's good for deep conversation like that. And um yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense actually. Um I think that might be the closest that we will know what it might feel like to be as a spirit and in that way until
And
we become
that's,
one.
well, that's it. But I mean, there's, as you Shannon, until we become one, there's that many different questions in the paranormal, and nobody knows the answer. We can only try and maybe guess, or have an
Right.
opinion or have a view. We might be wrong, we might be right, we might be half and half.
Right.
Everybody's got their own beliefs, theories, and I mean, I respect everybody's belief, even they might be totally wacko, you
Yeah.
know. But that's what that person believes, I've spoken to some people that believe that when you die, aliens come and take you away.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
you heard that as well. You go to Mars or Pluto or Uranus or whatever, and you don't go to heaven or the spirit world. You go to Jupiter. You think,
Yeah.
what? But you say,
Yeah.
oh well, that could be possible. I suppose you need to see that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
as soon as they're away, you're like that, wacko. You know, um, same. Well, not all the time, but but I've got 101 different questions. But I can leave that to the next show. I'll ask you my 101 wacko
Yes.
questions about. Um, that was only three, you
Okay.
know. So now
So we
I've got
have a
one.
lot.
I'll ask you one more right before we go,
Okay.
before we wind it up. So you go to an old abandoned castle,
Hmm.
right? You're investigating an old abandoned castle, and you pick up on intelligent spirits there that you're communicating with, right? So you know that you can't see them, but they can see you, right? We spent two months at the Caldwell estate, and one of the EVPs we got was a woman telling a man. We picked up on a man talking, but then this woman says, "Shh, they can see you." It was clear as a bell. So I started thinking, right, well, they can see us, but are they seeing us in their time when this building was a working building, or are they seeing us standing in this, shell of a building? So are we visiting them, or are they visiting us?
I think both. And I have thought this before, and I think that's a really cool, a cool theory, or interest. I feel that, you know, do you remember the movie? And I don't want to give it away, but if you haven't seen it yet, the movie The Others, I felt
Aye,
like that was a really
with Nicole
cool.
Kidman.
Right. And now if you take that concept, right, and then move that along to the idea that there is no time on the other side in the spiritual world, could there be instances where we are haunting them as well? Yes, I do think so. I do think so. And I do think that's when, you have weird reactions, or maybe something through across the room, or, your footsteps running away, or scream, you never know. I think that's really cool. And I do
I've,
think, yeah.
no, the others. I thought the others was a brilliant film, and I was
Yes,
shocked at the
very
end of
underrated.
it. Near the end of it, when it actually revealed the real story behind, of it.
Yep.
I'm not going to say in case nobody's watched it, but when you find out the real what's going on, I'm like, what?
Yep.
You know, but no,
And that
it's you
mind
see.
blown.
Are they hot? Not because we did investigate one of the investigations we did at Loudon one night with Rosie and Emma, the Ghoul Gang. We got a clear EVP through saying, "Are yous ghosts?"
Oh, wow.
And this was in a kirkyard, a graveyard. And
Wow.
somebody says, "Are yous ghosts?" So that kind of started everybody thinking, right? Well, we're investigating the kirkyard, but is somebody else investigating here
Mm.
that picking up on us?
Right.
Are we as us talking EVPs to them?
I think so. I think so. And I think especially in a place like where you all live, where there was a lot of traumatic history and things like that, where I think lives ended very quickly, and that happens but your history. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think that that is a possibility where maybe they're still in a loop, and maybe you interject into that, and they might think, "Oh, is that a ghost?" Like, there's nobody in here, and are you a ghost? I think that's a really sweet and scary experience for both of you, the spirit and you. Because,
It
like,
was
how touching and heartbreaking at the same time, right?
Yeah, it was really. That's the one and only time I've ever been asked that. But it was just
It's fascinating.
when we listened to it back and it said, "Are you ghosts?" Who's asking this?
It's so fascinating.
You
When
know,
you
is it?
listen to it, do you listen to it back in real time or do you wait till you get home?
Sometimes we'll hear things in real time. You
Right.
know, but Laura, who's in the chat, she uses her phone, and she'll sit and she'll put her phone and just leave it running.
Right.
And then we listen to it. You know,
At a later date.
maybe a couple of days later, whatever. We've got a whole bunch to listen to this coming week from our investigation on Friday. But sometimes we'll hear voices in real time as well.
Yeah. I think that's really
But
cool.
the thing is, I know I was going to wind it up, but let's see, when we were out last week, I was standing beside Rosie, maybe there was maybe a 2 foot gap or something. And Rosie just kind of looked at me and I said, Did you hear? Did you hear that? I don't know. She said, Did you not hear that woman say hello?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the look in Rosie's face that she wasn't kidding on, she wasn't at it. And she says, This woman just stuck her head right in there and said hello. I said, I never heard a thing.
Wow.
And there's times I've heard a woman talking, but nobody else has heard her. Or I've smelled perfume
Mm-hmm.
loud, but nobody else can smell it. And I've smelled that. I had one night, I smelled it three different times in the one night. And I went, Can you no smell perfume? Well, can't smell anything. She's, and the thing was, the people that look after that cut card, I was telling the sort of the boss about it, and she says, that's weird because 2 ladies in our group have smelled perfume at the exact same spot where you did.
Wow. That is interesting. That is really
And
interesting.
obviously the 3 of us had no contact with each other.
Right.
So do you think spirits, I think spirits can sometimes just single a person out.
Yeah, I think so. I think for sure. Or it's that you're just again in tune on that same frequency that they're on, and that's an easier channel for you to communicate with them. Like
It's, it's worth to
static.
say, well,
Like, you
I
can be with someone and they have the static hair or they have whatever, but you don't have to have that. They have that. And they might still shock, but you don't have that initial thing. So where that shock
well,
meets you is that moment where you're getting that initial connection, that frequency connection. And I feel like that's similar where you have that static charge with this energy and it's connecting to you. And that information
does
is
that
the
happen to
spark.
you? Have you ever had
A disembodied
you know,
voice?
uh, that you've heard that nobody else has?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. And then it's been captured on audio. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not captured on audio and then I question my sanity. But um yeah, I have had that. I think a lot of people have had that happen, you know. Um just the last weekend I was filming in a house in Gettysburg and we were on a break and so they were making tacos and
Right.
somebody said, "Oh wow, that smells good." And then you hear a woman say, "It's the meat." Well, it sounded like the one woman who was cooking, but it wasn't her that said it. And so I heard it from the other room. The other girl heard it, but the one who was cooking, whose voice it sounded like, did not hear it. So we were on
Right.
both opposite ends and she's in the middle of us and we both heard her say it. And now the other girl's looking at her, so she knows she didn't say it because there's like a cutout in the wall, right? So where the lady was standing from the other room is here. Then there's like an opening in the wall where you could sit and eat. And then there's like a kitchen here. And so she was cooking here and then I was on the opposite side of the wall in the living room on a couch. And so I thought that was interesting that it came from that exact room. She did not say it, but she also didn't hear it.
It's truly fascinating. Just
Yeah.
one last instance that happened to us. I call her the Whispering Lady. As we did Caldwell, and it's an old abandoned house, but we were sitting in the stairwell, and I was sitting on one of the stairs, and there was about 8 there that night, and the girls all heard what they described as sharp intakes of breath getting closer and closer. I never heard them. I heard a woman whispering right beside me. It's actually on her TikTok. It's the first or second TikTok on her page. I heard this woman whispering to me, but at the exact same time, I say, what was that? And Sarah says, what was that? So I think they're reacting to this woman whispering.
Interesting.
And they think I'm reacting to the and take a breath. I says, no, did you not hear that woman whispering?
Right.
She says, no, we never heard her. But we picked it up on video, so we've got it on video. And we listened to him. At first we thought it was Latin.
Oh.
We could not make out what this lady was saying. And so I sent it to, I don't know, about 10 people, 10 or a dozen people. I said, look, go to watch this, tell me what you think. And they all came back and says, that's not through the app. She was there beside you. That's not through an app. So I don't know if you've heard of Jim Martin to the Spirit Realm Network.
Yeah.
We got him on the show one night. He came on, he says, Jim does all the audio stuff. He says, well, I'll come on and I'll break it down for you. So we did it in a live, and he says, what the lady's saying is your light better now? He says, if you watch your footage, your EMF meter, I've got an EMF meter, he says it goes to red.
Oh
he
my
says,
God.
so you pick up and you move it, and then it goes to red again. And then she says, she asks you, is your light better now?
That's incredible.
So
Another
you need to go on there. It's the second. One of the first few videos is a K2 getting knocked over the same location, but see the second and third video. It's a couple of minutes in, but then you hear her saying, it sounded like Latin, but Jim says no, it's no Latin. Says I broke it right down and slowed it down and stuff, and that's what she's asking. But nobody else heard that.
Okay.
So that
but you heard that in real time. That's interesting. That's really cool. That is really cool.
She was right beside you when she was asking. It's just fascinating.
She wanted to connect with you. That's so cool.
I don't know why. I mean, I'm 60. Who knows? But I'm going to wind. I'll keep a hold of you just after we come off for a wee second, though. I'm going to wind it up there. So, where can people find you if they're hunting for you?
I'm on TikTok as the Queen of Darkness. SMC. I'm on Facebook, Shannon Michelle 1L Collins, the Queen of Darkness, and I'm on Instagram as a dream _ within a scream, or you could go to my website, adreamwithinascream.com.
So there you go, folks. Give this young lady a look up, and she will be joining us again. Because as you can see, she's the same as me, and she can chat.
I can.
But I was able to I'll keep a hold of you. I'll be saying that if we come off. But that's it for tonight, folks. So a big thanks to Shannon for finally coming on. Now that she got through the airport, okay. I really, really enjoyed it. We're back on Wednesday night with the Ghoul Gang. We're going to be chatting about all our exhibitions, adventures last week, and about the investigations. So we're going to be chit-chatting about that. And we're back at Loudon out for an investigation on Friday. But we'll bid you good night just now, or good afternoon, whatever it might be. And we'll talk to you again soon. So cheers, folks. See you later. Bye. Bye.
Bye.